or you want clarifying, just ask. So lovely to see you all, and let's get practicing.
Me.
All right then. So yeah, if you'll all mute yourself. Emily, I saw you come up at the last minute. Nice to see that you've made it. And if you could mute yourself, if you've got any questions, then do feel free to ask me, yeah? So the first thing I want to do is to just get a little stretch in here. So it's just going to be taking the feet wide. So we're coming into child's pose and taking the hands out in front of you and just relaxing down. It's something very nice about bringing your head to the floor and arriving. So you're arriving in the session, arriving in the class. Maybe tent the fingers. So that's pushing them. So spider hands is another word for it. And that can just activate the shoulders. It's up to you. If you need to flop, if you've just arrived home from a really busy day and you're like, oh, I've arrived, then just go into the forehead and forearms on the ground and that sense of being supported. It's very, very calming to have the forehead in contact with something. And there's a shutting down that happens when you're in this position because you are not looking, you're closing the senses down. So it's a very trusting pose. Okay. So just coming into, you can feel your breath as well here because it hits the mat in front of you or the floor. So just connecting to that, possibly hearing it. And then I'd like you to tent the hands and take them over to the right. So take and bring the left hand on top of the right hand. So you'll get a stretch all the way down the left side of the body, possibly the shoulders if you've had a tense day and your shoulders have ended up around your ears because it's just got increasingly stressful, then you may well feel this in the shoulders. Breathe. And feel the side of the ribs because you're stretched, you can really feel the breath in the ribs. Oh yeah, and then I set the intention, Emily, you were for people to just maybe try and pluck the leaves. So I've come over to the other side now. Same thing, taking the hands across. So yeah, in the next couple of days, just because of the sort of season cycle and the way everything's turning in, and the trees are sort of bedding down for the winter and losing their leaves, just keeping an eye out for that lovely patterns that they make on the pavement. They sort of leave their impression, all the colours, and just sort of, we're able to see that even though we're in the city. Okay, so again, you're getting the stretch now along the right hand side of the body. Okay, and then I want you to come back to center. And then I would like us all to push back into downward dog. So you're going to push back. I'll go sideways to show you this. So pushing back into downward dog. Okay, and just walking, pedaling. So it's as if you're cycling. You're just pedaling. It's called walking the dog. And then just bend the knees. Take the chest towards your thighs and get that sense of the stretch. You've got a nice straight back. This gives you a nice straight back. And you can get the sense of the arms again and that movement that we did on the floor. And now I'd like you to come down onto all fours and do some cat-cows. So moving on your breath, really arching the back and feeling. This is another great way to connect to the breath, just feeling the rippling effect of the spine. Make sure you can sort of push your feet into the ground as well, so all the weight's not in your knees. And then I'd like to just do a side stretch, another side stretch. So look back to your imaginary tail. See if you can see it. You won't be able to. You won't be able to see your bum. So really swinging with this one. Okay, and then we've got quite a nice straightforward sequence. So you may well want to sit back onto your heels to watch this. Just sit in hero's pose for a second. It's very straightforward. What we're going to do is we will go from being on all fours. You're going to come forwards. Your bum is in the air and your chin comes to the ground. And then you're sliding forwards. And then you bring your hands up, so it's a little locust. And then back into child's pose. If you don't like doing downward dog, if you've had a bit of a tough day, just stay in child's pose and then catch us when we come out. So you'd stay there if you're tired. If you're not, you can come up into downward dog. Then you come forwards into plank. So I'm sort of coming over my hands slightly and pushing up into the upper back. Drop to the knees. And then trying to bring the forearms down because that gets the stretch in the back. Okay, so that's the sequence. And then you do that. Come back. And then up into downward dog. So if we all come onto all fours, and we'll start with this sequence. Okay, so on an inhale, going to come down, chin to the floor, bum in the air, slide forwards, bring the hands up. If you can keep the elbows in, that's quite important. And then coming back into child's pose. It's quite a gentle sequence. And it gets the whole range of movement, either stay in child's pose or come up into downward dog. Take a breath. Maybe a little sway from side to side, just to wake up the legs. And then forwards into plank. Again, you can skip this if you feel if this is too strong on your wrists, or you're just not feeling that you want to work too hard tonight. Okay, if you are in plank, do push up between the shoulder blades, make it active, belly in, and drop to the knees. Elbows, sort of forearms coming to the floor, chin to the ground, slide through, hands come up. You're looking down, so you're not jerking the neck, okay? You're sort of looking at the end of your mat or directly below, so eyes looking down, and coming back into child's pose. Your practice, if you want to stay there. And then downward dog if you're going to do a few more parts of the sequence. Think about making the legs active, so activating the thighs, pulling the kneecaps up just slightly. You're not locking the legs, you're just making them active so the weight's not all in the hands. And then plank or straight down to all fours. So make this sequence your own. Do what's going to work for you. And then we're all coming to the floor. Chin down. Sliding through. Lifting up. Okay, we're going to go a bit faster now. Coming back. Downward dog. Sorry, child's pose. Downward dog. Plank. Pushing up. Drop to the knees. Coming down. Sliding through. Lifting up. And if you want to make that more challenging, you can take the legs up at the same time, so you're moving both hands and feet off the floor. Back into child's pose. And then up into downward dog. 1 or 2 breaths here. Forward into plank. Really draw the belly in and push up between the shoulder blades, making the back active. You don't want to be down with your bum down. It's not good for the lower back. And then drop to the knees. Coming down. Chin to the floor, bum in the air. Slide through. Lift up. You should be feeling hopefully a bit warmer now. Child's pose. Downward dog. plank. Drop to the knees, chin to the floor. Slide through locust, whatever version you want to do. And then child's pose. At any stage you want to just stay in child's pose. Again, this is your practice. It's about what you want and need, what your body needs. Up into, possibly up into downward dog. Forwards into plank. Remember to push up, make it really active. So that's pushing up between the shoulder blades, belly pulling in. And then chin to the floor. Sliding through. Locust. And then the last one. So child's pose. One breath in each position. Come up into downward dog. Inhale, coming forwards into plank. Drop into the knees, chin to the floor. Come through. Locust. And then back into child's pose. Okay. And then back into downward dog. So now I'd like you to take your right foot up into the air and drop it down behind. So as if it's going towards your left shoulder. It's just heading in that direction. Obviously, it's not going to get there. Arms straight. And then bring the knee forward. Bring it towards the head. Okay. Take it back. Take it to the right elbow or tricep. And then take it back. Take it to the left tricep or elbow in my case, or forearm really. Take it back. And then bring it through for a lunge. Okay, so I've taken my back foot down. And what I want to do now is to do a twist. So I'm going to take my opposite arm up and across the body. Place that hand on top and then push yourself around. Seated twist. If you want to take the back foot off the floor and make it more active, feel free to do that. I'm going for leisurely today. Couple of breaths, pushing yourself deeper into the twist. Brilliant. And then release. Bring the hands back and pull. So you straighten your front leg and then pull the heel towards you. It won't move on the floor and you're pulling this hip back. So you're getting a stretch in the back of the body. Everyone okay? Great. Okay. And then we're going to come forward. Hands come in front. Step back into downward dog. And it's the same thing with the left foot now. So you're going to take that foot up and let it drop back towards your right shoulder. Keep the arm straight. Push into the right foot. Keep that leg active. And then bring it through and in the direction of your nose or your chin or your forehead. Really pulling the belly in. And then take it back. And now it's coming to the left tricep. Might have changed the order, but it's not the end of the world. Okay, and then back. Try and keep the foot off the floor. Mine nearly touched the floor then. And now to the right tricep or elbow, lower arm. And then back. And now through into a lunge. Okay, I'll stay here for a second. So same thing as on the other side. I'm probably able to demonstrate it better now. Seated twist, you're bringing this, not seated twist, what am I on about? Just side twist. So Bring the shoulder over as much as possible, and then place the hands on top and use the pressure from the top hand, if you've got them in prayer, to deepen the twist. Be careful that you're not collapsing with the knee. As you're exerting the pressure, that the knee's not collapsing in. Yeah, make sure it's still solid, because you don't want to put any pressure on your knee. But you can get quite a lot of leverage by having that hand and shoulder right across the body. I mean, the teaching instruction is to aim to get your palms in the middle of your chest, which is never going to happen in this lifetime for me. And that's absolutely fine. We're all built differently. But I can feel the stretch, and that's what I want. I want the stretch. Slow, steady breaths. See if you could just twist a little bit more. Belly drawn in, active top hand. Okay, and then release. And then we're going to put our hands on the floor, straighten the front leg. And it's the same thing. You're sort of pulling the hip back. It's not sort of, you are. And so you'll feel the heel just coming a few millimeters towards you. And you'll really get the stretch all the way up the leg then, all the way. I mean, I can feel it right to the hamstrings and the glutes. So so it's an active leg. And breathe. Okay. Great. And then we're going to come back onto all fours and do another series of cat-cow. Just to lubricate the spine. And also I want to do this arm stretch. So take the hands out to the side and do the cat-cow. And then take the hands back behind you as much as is practical. And again, do cat-cow. And you'll really feel this in the forearms. Okay, we're going to target the upper back. So bring the forearms down onto the floor. So, and then you're doing cat-cow, but with the forearms on the floor. So this will really, it doesn't feel like you're doing much, but you are. It's all in the upper back. Okay, so doing cat-cow again from this position. And then from here, I want to push back into dolphin. So dolphin is strong on the upper arms, upper back. So you keep the hands like this, and then you just push up into dolphin. So it's like downward dog, but you've got your forearms on the floor. And think about bringing your head between the arms. Slow, steady breaths, 5 breaths if you can. If you need to come down before that, just do. It's far more challenging than downward dog. Active legs. Brilliant. And then come down. And we're just going to come onto our heels, so coming back into hero's pose. And I'd like you to just release the hands. So give them a little wiggle, wiggle. Maybe even bring the backs of the hands together. And do this movement. And try the other way, please. And a really gentle exercise for waking up the shoulders is if you take your arms really wide and then cross the elbows maybe above each other, and then you do a figure of 8 with the elbows, and you might well feel some clicking in the back, but this just works the muscles in a really nice way because there's no weight bearing going on. So draw figures of 8 and then draw some tiny figures of 8. And you can feel the back shoulder blades working. And then change direction, please. Draw figures of 8 the other way. Okay. And then exhale, curl the belly in and take the elbows towards the belly and let the head just relax. And you'll feel the stretch between the shoulder blades in the upper back. That's great. Come back up. Make a note of which hand or arm is on the top. It's usually your dominant. So if you write with whichever hand you write with, normally that arm's on the top. And swap, do the other side, please. Same thing, figures of eights. Or an approximation with your elbows. So pay attention to the top of the figure of eight. If it's not very comfy sitting like this, feel free to get a cushion or a block and put it behind the legs here. That will make it much easier. Or change your seated position to something else. Whatever works for you. And then change direction of your figure of eights, please. Great. Okay. Now we're going to come back up into downward dog. And we are going to take the leg up again, the right leg up, and then swing it through. So we're in another lunge. Okay. And we're doing another, intense side stretch is the name for it. So you're bringing your hand onto the knee. You can have your hand on the inside if you want. If you've got blocks, you can use blocks. And then this arm comes up and stretches as if you're trying to reach something that's just out of shot or just out of reach. And then you're looking up towards your armpit, really. You're turning towards your armpit, but your gaze is towards your fingertips. And push into the back leg, make it active. Don't have all the weight on the front leg. Take 5 breaths here. And then from here, bring the hands around. So you're facing forwards. Have your feet pointing forwards or slightly in. Lift the chest up. And then exhale, bring the head down towards the floor. Imagine that you're trying to hold something between the legs to make the legs active. The head may well come sort of in the direction of the floor. And if you would like to, you can take the hands back behind you and that will release the elbows as well, the shoulders really. Slow, steady breaths. If you feel any tightness in the hamstrings, bend the knees, okay? And that will just release it, allows the hips to come forwards more. And you don't want any tugging at the top of the legs. Slow, steady breaths. And then bring the hands back out. Turn around to the other side. And it's an intense side stretch on this side. So doing whatever you did on the other side. If you have the arm on the knee, then please go for that. You can have the hand outside if you've got longer arms, or on the inside, whatever feels like it's going to be good for you. And take the hand up and over as if you're reaching for something that's just out of reach. Chin goes towards your armpit. Eyes look towards the fingertips. That really does help get the stretch. The stretch is going all the way down the side of the body, from the tips of the toes, the extended leg, to the fingertips of the extended arm. Slow, steady breaths. Brilliant. Okay. And then release that. Come back to center. Take the hands, interlace them behind the back. And reaching down, pull the fingers and the arms up towards the ceiling. If that doesn't feel comfortable, you can just get hold of the forearms and do it that way, which is a slightly different stretch, but it can be effective. It's just working the muscles and working out where you're tight in the shoulders. Slow, steady breaths. Shake the head, make sure there's no tension. in the head, in the neck. And then we're going to stay in an inversion. So bring the hands back down to the floor, heel toe the feet together, and come into a dangle, which is where you're going to hold the opposite arm. So your hands hold your elbows, and you're folding forwards. Okay, and we've opened up the backs of the legs. So from here, we're going to come into a squat. So you may well want to get cushions or blocks and put them behind the feet, or you might find you can come down into a squat. So you're going to put the elbows inside the thighs or the knees and use them to give you leverage. Okay. And this is really good for the lower back, decompressing the lower back. Just resting here for a minute, see how that feels. Get any props you need to assist you. Sometimes it could be nice to support the heels. So just staying here for a minute or so. You can, some people find it quite good to get hold of your mat and use that to push and pull and create a sense. If you feel like you're going to fall, this can be good. Okay, and then if you're comfortable in the pose, I'd like you to place your left arm on the floor and then take your right arm up into a twist. So you're looking at your right arm. So the twist is coming all the way across, and also you're pushing into the hip. Okay, and then bring that down. And then do the same thing on the other side. So before we do the other side, just pushing the hands into the ground, feeling what that does to the back. And then do the other side. So I'm taking that hand firmly onto the floor, pushing my right hip back, right leg back, and then taking the left arm up and looking to the arm, looking to the fingertips really. You may well be able to bind. If you're able to bind in this position, feel free to go for that. That's where you'd be bending the right arm back behind and taking the left arm round and getting a deeper twist. So I'd need a belt to do that. Okay, and then coming back. We're going to straighten up. So you're back in a position where you've got your feet on the ground and you've got your hands in the direction of the ground. And then you're either going to take hold of the backs of the legs and pull yourself deeper into a forward bend, or you may possibly be able to get hold of your big toes, in which case you're going to use your peace fingers, so middle finger and index finger, and get hold of your big toes. Lengthen through the spine, and then exhale and fold down. So I'll show you that sideways. So you're going to lengthen through the spine to begin with, getting a nice straight back, and then exhale, fold down. And then you're pulling up with your fingers and pushing down with your toes, big toe, creating traction to take yourself a bit deeper. Belly's drawn in. And again, you don't want any tightness here. If you're feeling that, feel free to bend the knees. And this can be really good for the back if you bring your thighs in contact with the belly. Okay, make sure you're not tight in the shoulders. Roll the shoulders away. And then go for whichever variation feels good for you. If you want to, the second part of this pose, you can place the hands underneath the feet. And the idea is to get the toes to the wrists. And this is another good counter stretch for all the keyboard work we do. And if you're doing this one, you would let the weight come into the toes. So you're playing with that. There's a sense that you might, I get a little frisson of, ooh, I'm gonna tumble. But you're wanting to shift the weight forwards into the toes a bit more, so it's not all in the heels. Again, shake the head, make sure there's no tension in the head. And then release that. Let the palms face each other and very slowly come up to standing. Imagine you're pulling a really tight pair of jeans on and you're zipping them up. So you're using your core to bring you up. Okay. And then we should be in standing. Okay. So now we're in standing. I want to just release the back. So a bit of from side to side and let the hands come up the body. So you're stimulating. It's like a free massage. Not the best massage in the world, but free massage. Your hands come right the way up. And obviously you stop. Stop when you get to the neck. Don't start hitting your face. Floppy arms. Really sort of stimulating the body and then take the arms back down. Okay. I didn't say to get a belt. If you've got a belt, you're going to do a standing back bend. You can hold the belt behind you and do the belt like this. For those, I didn't say to get one, so I'm not going to use one because that wouldn't be fair. This is just a gentle back bend. So you're putting your hands on the back of the body and you'll think about your elbows coming towards you. So you bend your knees and then you straighten up. So you're lengthening the front of the body. Take the head back. If you don't like that, you can look down the body. That's absolutely fine. Elbows come towards each other. And then you shift the weight back into the toes, and that will really take the stretch into the front of the body. Don't forget to breathe. Slow, steady breaths. Think about moving the elbows towards each other. Okay. And then release that. And we're going to do that once more. So just shake the wrists a little. And then the same again. If you've got the belt, you'd be pulling on the belt when you come back. To have the belt hip sort of shoulder width apart, and you'd be pulling on it, and that'll just allow you to get your shoulders back. So second one. Hands coming back. Inhale. I sort of bend the knees a little and lift up. Take the elbows back towards each other. And then take the stretch. Think about shifting the weight into your toes. A little bit more so the weight's even. Slow, steady breaths. Belly's drawn in to protect the back. And then release. Right. So balancing pose. I'm going to take the right foot, place it on the left knee. Woo, wobbly day. Try again. It looks like I'm about to hop off. Make sure the foot's flexed so the toes are coming back towards the shin. Protect your knee. And then you're bending the standing leg. And the stretch is going into the glutes. If you've got anything happening with the knee, if it feels a bit delicate, then please don't do that. It's really wobbly, but nonetheless, I'm going to try and turn this into a sequence. So slow, steady breaths. Pushing the hands together, feel what that does to the chest and the spine. Oops, I'm off. Keeping that pose. And then I get the feeling, well, no, let's suspend judgment and see what happens. Okay, so you're going to come now and bring the leg out behind you. And you're coming forward and you can take we've got two options. You could take the hands to the floor and make it into standing splits, or if you're feeling like your balance is okay, you can take the hands back behind you or stretch them forwards. Okay, so I've fallen out again. Not the day for me, so I will go for the standing splits. Okay, and if you're doing standing splits, bring the hands in towards you. Standing legs strong in whatever version you're doing. And then very slowly come back to standing. And I'm going to do the other side. So release your standing leg. Give it a little, actually, if you just imagine you're trying to flick a bit of mud off it. That can be really good for the ankle. So really go floppy. And then off we go, other side. Grounding down through your standing leg might help. I'm going to give it a go. Bend the standing leg. Foot comes up. Ooh. Okay. So that's it. Every day is different. Every hour is different. So it's being kind and curious and not going, oh, I can do this. What's going on? This whole combination of factors mean that some balancing poses are accessible some days and not others. And just have to be accepting of that. Because we've got this illusion that everything's on this trajectory and there's always these improvements, and it's not so. So kind and curious. Slow, steady breaths. And then bring the foot up and repeat whatever you did on the other side. So it could be leg back and arm, oops, I'm off again, and arms back. Or it could be, just try that from standing. Could be arms in front, if you did that before. Or it could be standing splits. So I did a combination, so I'll come down now and do standing splits as well. Take advantage of the furniture that you've got around you as well. If you need to hold on to something, hold on to something. It's absolutely fine. Yeah, it's your practice. Slow, steady breath. Straighten the standing leg. Make it solid. And then release both feet to the ground. And come up to standing. Okay, so now we're going to do a little bit of floor work. We're going to do a vinyasa to keep us warm. So 2 sun salutations. And then we're going to come onto the floor again. So standing at the front of your mat, Tadasana. On an inhale, look up to the thumbs. Exhale, folding forwards, leading with the sternum. Hands come to the floor. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, hands firmly on the floor. Either jump or step back, whatever feels good for you. And then you can either bring the knees to the floor or lower down and come through into locust or upward dog. And then exhale back into downward dog. And it's 5 breaths here. And then on the next inhale, walk or jump forwards. Again, completely up to you. Lengthen through the spine. Exhale, release, look towards the knees. Inhale, sweep the hands up above the head, look to the thumbs. Bring them back down. And standing once again into Tadasana. Straight into the next one. On an inhale, look to the thumbs. Exhale, the fold. Leading with the sternum, nice straight back. Hands come to the floor. Inhale, lengthen, making an L shape with the body. I've heard it called monkey pose, which I don't really understand. I've got to jump back and then lower down, come through into upward dog, and exhale back into downward dog. There we go, 5 breaths here. And then come to sitting. So don't bother finishing that one because we're going to come to the floor anyway. So come to sitting. Okay. And the first one is a side stretch. So sitting on the floor. If you know you're tight at the hips, feel free to sit on a block. I normally do right legs going out to the side, left leg's folded in. And you're going to bring your right arm down beside the right leg. Some people are able to tuck the forearm under the calf. If that's accessible to you, go for it. If you haven't got any leverage here, maybe get some blocks or a cushion. Yeah. And then that leg's active and the feet are pointing up. This knee is heading in the direction of the ground. And then you're going to bring your hand onto your head. So that's the left hand. And as you inhale, you're taking that elbow back and you're looking up at the ceiling. This is a strong stretch. It gets in, I find it here quite strongly. You're going to get it in lots of different places. So 3 inhales as you bring the elbow back each time. And you're using your right arm against the right thigh to help you get the turn. Big, strong, steady breaths. And then on the 4th breath, take the hand off the head and take it in the direction of your right toes. You're looking up. You don't want to collapse. You don't want to be going sideways. You want to still be looking up at the ceiling and getting that stretch. And then release the hand, comes back first. Come back up to sitting. Bring the right leg in. And then rotate in a circular movement 5 times. 1 breath for each rotation. And remember that the head is part of the spine. So you want the head to go as far out as you can. And you don't want to be keeping the head still and moving the body. You want the whole thing to be happening together. So 5 breaths. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Foot goes out to the side, so left foot's gone out to the side. Right toe is in the direction of thigh. Ideally in contact with it, but it's not the end of the world if it isn't. Bring the hand down. Be prepared for the fact you're going to be tighter on one side than the other, so it's not going to feel the same on both sides. Pressing that in, like I said, if you want to use blocks to raise up, that's fine. Or cushions or whatever you've got to hand. Okay. Active foot, toes pointing up, knees pointing up. So active left leg. Right hand's coming onto the head, and we're ready to go. Inhale, take the elbow back. Inhale again, take the elbow back. And the breath is such a good monitor. If you're struggling, if the breath is straining or sounding a bit like a steam engine, then you're overdoing it. You're sacrificing the body for the ego. Okay, you want nice steady breath. Once you've done that 3 times, take the hand up over. So right hand going towards left toes. Keep looking at the ceiling. Think about getting that right knee down of the bent leg. And feel the stretch in the whole of the side of that body. And then release so the hand comes back up. And then the body torso comes up. Foot comes in, so you're cross-legged. And then we're going to rotate. So off you go. 5 breaths. One way. Each rotation is an inhale and an exhale. Now we didn't do this on the other side, but I'm going to ask you to go back, change the rotation. If you were in clockwise, now do anti-clockwise and do that for 5 breaths as well. See how far you can lean, yeah? So really exaggerate it for the last few. Really explore where your center of balance is. And then we're going to sit upright. I'd like you to pull on your knees. So you're really pulling into the upper back, like that. And then round. Put your arms out as if you're getting hold of a big beach ball. Then inhale, pull on the knees, pull the shoulders forwards. And then exhale, hold your imaginary huge beach ball. Pull on the knees again. So it's almost like a seated cat-cow. Exhale, beach ball. Last one, pull on the knees. And you've come up to an upright position. Okay. Then take the right foot out in front of you. Left is foot's in against the thigh. Active foot again, toes coming back towards the shin. Take your hands up in the air and exhale forward, leading with the sternum, okay? So you're leading with the upper body. Maybe you don't come that far forward. You want to keep that straight back. In fact, a good way of getting into this, go with me on this, so apologies for the change in plan, is to put the knee, so with the extended leg, just for a second, bend it, so your right leg's bent, take your torso towards your knee, and then follow your knee down with your torso. And that will give you more length in the back. Hope that makes sense. I'll do that again just to show you. If you've done it, then you can reach forward and clasp the shin or clasp the toes, whatever is accessible for you. You lengthen up and then exhale, do the final fold. And there will be a fold in the back, that's fine. I'll show you that sideways on the other side. You're looking to the toes rather than the knee. So you've got a bit of space in the neck. 5 slow, steady breaths. And then release. So lengthen the spine before you release the arms and then release the arms. Okay, so we'll show that one sideways. So now we swap sides. Bring the other leg in towards the thigh. Sitting upright. So when I say leading with the sternum, if you want to just glance at me from this, so leading with the sternum is coming forwards like this. So you're coming forwards like this, and then you will fold at the last minute. Then you sort of push the spine back and fold. But you don't want to come down like this, yeah? Where I'm collapsed here. You want to create that length. You want that length in the body and in the back. Because we're trying to get into the spine here. Well, we're getting lots of places, but we don't want this to collapse. We want it to have a lot of space. So maybe you can see if I do this coming with following my thigh, that I've got that length. Okay, so get into it whichever way works for you. So off we go. But think about leading with here and having that length in the spine. And then folding down. So it's almost folds, like folding a piece of paper, almost sort of folds back. There's like a fold in the back. And then you're looking to your toes. Slow, steady breaths. Great, and then release. So hands stay there, you lengthen through the spine, come back up to sitting. All right, and then from here we're going to do a core. We're going to go into Navasana, so that's the boat pose. So for the first one, you want to just put your hands behind your knees. So this is the core really. And then you're just going to, you can either stay in this position with the feet on the floor and just get that sense of the straight back. This is what you're aiming for. You want to have that lift in the back. You don't want to be, this is a sinking boat. You want to be a sailing boat, okay? So, and not very nice image that I was given, but it's effective. It's really not very nice. It's to imagine you've got a hook here in the chest and you're being pulled up, and that will give you this lift in the chest. So again, it's about the sternum. So we're going to do this 3 times. So I would suggest going easy. So first one, bring the legs off the floor, get that lift in the back and your point of balance. And you can, if you want to go for it, you can take the arms away now, and you're going to do a couple of breaths here. So start breathing slow and steady. It's not about how straight the legs are, it's about the lift in the back, yeah? So you can, if you want to, take the hands away. And then you release and you cross the legs and you lift up. So you think about lifting the core off the floor. I like to have some blocks. I find it easy with some blocks. So sorry if you haven't got those. Okay, and then we're going to go straight into the next one. So straight to the next one. So on an inhale, take the legs up. They can be parallel to the floor. Hands come wide or in front, or you can go for straight legs. It's your choice. Don't forget to breathe, whatever you do. Remember that lift here. And then cross, change the cross. Lift up. So you may not come off the floor, but you're engaging your knees, you're engaging your feet, you're engaging your core. And you have that sense of it all engaging, yeah? And now we go to the last one. So again, lifting up. I find taking the arms wide can help with getting space here as well. But ideally they point together. If you know you've got limitations in the chest, you can have the hands parallel. That's absolutely fine. Keep lifting. And then just to take it a little bit harder, let yourself come low and then lift up again. See how that felt. Maybe you can do that once more. Let yourself come low and then lift up again. Brilliant. Okay, well done. Feet come to the floor. Pull the buttocks to sort of get the sit bones in contact with the floor. And we're going to fold forwards. And it's the same thing. I would suggest having the knees bent and your chest is in contact with your thighs. And then come forwards like that. And that can help with the alignment of the back. But if you want to take the hands above the head and come forwards that way, it's absolutely fine. So you're aiming to grab hold of the legs, what could be the feet, whatever works for you, and then exhale, so it's a forward bend. Slow, steady breaths. Okay, and then release. Now we're going to go onto our back. So the first one, I've got that long actually, is we'll do bridge. So coming onto your back, we're going to do one more core exercise. So you're going to lie on your back with your feet on the floor. And then the first thing we're going to do is we're going to inhale, we're going to take our bum off the floor. And then take your right leg up into the air. Keep it there. Do 5 breaths. Keep pushing actively with the left leg. That's the 5th breath, and then bring it down. Again, if you can feel the breath straining, then you know to change. I'm staying up. I've just wiggled my shoulders under, which is going to give me more of a lift. And now the second leg's coming up, so left leg's coming up. If 5 is too much and you want to just stay in bridge, it's absolutely fine. Don't have to do core. We just need to get a back bend, really. 3, 4, 5, and then bring the foot down. And then you can think about interlacing the fingers, bringing the shoulders further under, lifting up, knees towards toes. If you've been up in bridge and you want to come down and then go up again, absolutely fine. You've been here for a while, so we're all going to lower down now. Coming from the shoulders, so the bottom is the last thing to hit the floor, and we're going to do that once more. So inhale, come up, interlace the fingers, push up. If you want to do wheel, and that's part of your practice, feel free to go ahead. And if you'd prefer to do shoulder stand, then again, go ahead and do that. Whichever inversion you fancy. There's no point in me demonstrating shoulder stand, because once you're in it, you can't turn your head and look at the screen. Okay, coming down if you're doing bridge. And then we'll do one more, because if people have chosen other inversions, then they're going to need a bit longer. Okay, so maybe for the last one, if you want to challenge yourself, bring the feet together. If you've got a block or a cushion near to hand, you can put that in between, and gripping that block is going to activate core and the midline. And it's quite interesting because so we're all ready to go, doing whichever version you want. Okay, you can hold on to the thing we did with when you're in the squat, and I was holding onto the sides of my mat to help me lift up. That can be really good with this. But gripping the block, it feels like it should be quite straightforward. And quite quickly you can feel the blocks sliding even though you really feel like you're gripping. And then slowly come down. And then I would like us all to do a reclining twist. So take your right leg straight and then bring your left leg across the body. Get hold of the left leg with your right hand. And then take your left arm out towards the floor and look towards your left shoulder. So it's a nice stretch. Take slow, steady breaths. And then come back to center. Stretch out your left foot. Bring your right knee in to chest almost. And then bring the hand, left hand to get hold of the right knee. Take the right knee across the body and look towards your right fingertips. So this, because of the work we've done on the upper back, you may well feel a bit more mobility in the upper back and feel the stretch going into the shoulders more than you normally would. Maybe not. So again, just breathing. Because we've got this twist happening, it's quite easy to feel the breath in the ribs. So enjoy that sensation of expansiveness. And then rolling back onto your back, coming into Shavasana. So just rolling onto your back. Let the legs flop out. You can bring the hands onto the abdomen if you like to feel the contact with the breath. Or keep the shoulders as they are and the arms as they are with the backs of the hands on the floor. And then I would like you to feel the contact of the arms with the floor and the shoulders with the floor. Back of the head in contact with the floor. The space on the neck, the lift that's there. And then coming back to the shoulders, just offer up a bit of the tension that we hold there. Maybe wiggle your shoulders. Feel free to wiggle them to increase the contact and get that broadness, that openness across the chest, which will allow you to breathe deeper, which in turn will allow you to feel more relaxed and at ease. So enjoy that sensation of contact and of support and giving up. Let some of that stress just seep into the ground. 1%, 2% would be a marvelous thing. Let the floor take it. Feel the solidity of the floor beneath you and let go into the floor. So as we carry on down the spine, as you inhale and exhale, you can feel the ripple through the spine and the way the spine comes back towards the floor. And then the hips and pelvis in constant contact with the floor. Feel them releasing. Perhaps you can invite the legs to just open out a little bit more, the toes and the heels to flop out a little bit more so the hips are opening, releasing the legs. And then bring your attention to the face and the mouth and the jaw. Possibly push your tongue against the roof of the mouth to release, or it may be curled there already. Feel the space between the lips or possibly the contact between the lips. And then a softening in the cheeks. And that passing up to the temples and the forehead. And then the right eye socket. Maybe you can feel the eyelashes touching. And then the left eye sockets. Again, maybe you can feel the eyelashes touching. And then attention to the tip of the nose and feel the breath coming in through the nose. Is it regular on both sides? Some people are able to feel the coolness of the breath going in and then the warmth of the release. There's no need to go into that level of awareness. It's following the breath. Try and follow one inhale to its full length and one exhale. So from the start to the end. And that is not as easy as it sounds. And now bring a little bit of movement back into the body. So you might feel the urge to take the hands above the head, stretch, or you might want to draw the knees into the chest, or you might want to do both. Or you might just want to come straight over onto your side, whatever feels good for you. So if you've drawn the knees into the chest, think about pushing the spine, the lower back and the bottom, so top of the, just at the top where your belt would be, your waistband, just pushing that into the ground and feel that length in the spine. So you're lengthening out the lower back, and then we'll all come onto our sides. Take as much time as you need. If any of those movements felt really nice and you want to do it for a bit longer, feel free to do that. So really just explore into your body, bits, the mechanics of it. And then in your own time, we'll all come up to sitting. And then we're going to rub our hands together once you've come to sitting. Get some warmth in the palms of the hands. And then cup those over the eyes. You can have the eyes open or closed, it's absolutely up to you. And just feel the heat transferring into that soft skin, delicate skin that's around the eyes. And sealing the benefits of the practice. And then in your own time, slowly take the hands away from the face. Oh, thank you. Lovely to see you. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming. If you'd like to unmute yourselves, that would be great. Thank you. Oh, look at that. Nice stretch. I like that stretch.
Oh, thank you, Liz. That was great.
Oh, my pleasure.